Are you sure the sun will rise tomorrow? Images of the star horrified scientists say humanity faces a new ice age. Let's remember what's happening in Florida, Texas, Louisiana, with the snow and storms, 10 inches of snow. Now, the photographs of our star received by observatories around the world are creepy. Despite the fact that another cycle of activity is underway, there are almost no sunspots on the surface. Then where are they? Back in 2019, the sun could not get out of the minimum solar activity and did not flare up. There were even wild theories that deep inside itself, it had actually cooled down. A photon born in the depths travels to the surface of about 1,000,000 years. The sun will shine for 1,000,000 years, but in reality it will go out a long time ago. So maybe this has already happened. Now, but as soon as the pandemic began, the activity of the sun also went up, and with a bang. A current high is considered the most violent in recent memory. Auroras are constantly seen in mid-latitudes, a sure sign of raging star. And they thought that this would be the case until 2025, when a peak is expected. The period of fluctuations in solar activity is about 11 and a half years, and here it is. Astronomers' comments are still cautious. They point out that this is not uncustomary. The sun may freeze slightly and then continue to accelerate to its peak. So soon new spots will emerge from the edge of the disk and everything will return to normal. Optimism justified. Back in 2011, several studies appeared proving that the sun is gradually cooling down and its activity is falling. As astronomer Frank Hill said then, perhaps the regular cycle of the activity changes is breaking. This is very strange and unexpected, he notes. He saw the reason that the magnetic field of our star is gradually weakening. It's the spots that can signal this, because spots are areas of high magnetic field. According to Hill's estimates, the current cycle should not be strong. When it broke up, they forgot about the prophecy, but it's not the time to remember. Secondly, in the summer, there were forecasts that the current maximum activity would occur earlier than expected. This also suggests that the cycle is broken. So there are two arguments in favor of the fact that there is something wrong with the solar cycle. A recent study showed that the height of the Little Ice Age, the 16th and 18th centuries, the sun changed its activity not every 11 and a half years, but every 8 years. Thus, when the star cools, its cyclicity breaks down. During the Little Ice Age, humanity suffered greatly. The fields did not bear fruit, the summers were terrible and rainy, and the winters incredibly harsh. Everything seemed to indicate that a repeat of this story is not far off. Of course, we won't rush. The climate may not change right now. Activists will continue to fight global warming, sincerely believing it's only caused by human activities. But if the signs listed above are not a chain of coincidences, in a decade or two everything will become obvious, and a new ice age may become the main concern for humanity. Daylight Chronicles. Strange records have been preserved in the chronicles that our daylight faded, and we're not talking about an eclipse. People might not have seen the sun for years. Usually such evidence was attributed to artistic exaggeration or error, deliberate lies, or was interpreted as the activity of volcanoes, which they say clogged the atmosphere. But what astronomers seem to have discovered is that stars like the sun can actually dim. Their light is obscured by megacomets, and these punishing-tailed guests resemble either the planet Nibiru or the wormwood star about which legends speak. The worst year in history? If you type this combination of words into search engine, a story will unfold in front of you that you will likely not believe, but it's true. In 536 AD, the sun disappeared from human sight for more than a year. In humanity's collective memory, this event remains as the twilight of gods, Ragnarok in Scandinavian. People decided that the gods had destroyed each other in a colossal battle and abandoned people to their fate. Procopius of Caesarea, writer, says, Darkness fell and the sun shone dimly like the moon all year. It was like an eclipse, for the rays of the sun were not pure and not as usual, and from the moment it began, people could not escape either from war or from plague or from many other deaths known and unknown to man. So the sun rose and set, but it seemed to shine reluctantly. Its light was no brighter than the moon. Of course, the cold came. In the spring, the fields seemed to turn green, but they remained barren. It snowed in the summer, and a terrible drought set in northern Europe, resulting in forest fires and destroyed crops, forests, and cities. After a famine came the plague. This connection had been noted more than once in history. The immunity of people of that time was mediocre. In vain they think that in ancient times everyone was healthy. They lived in the dirt without medicine and ate monotonously, so as soon as they were left with the already meager food, the disease was right there. Entire cities stood empty. Thieves who tried to rob the houses of victims died themselves. Bible testimony? But was there that terrible year the only one? The Bible records very similar events. Egyptian darkness, remember? According to the plot, Moses asked Pharaoh to release his people to their homeland, otherwise the 10 plagues will befall the country. Pharaoh refuses, executions begin, darkness is one of them. The Bible in Exodus says, Moses stretched out his hand to heaven, and there was thick darkness throughout all the land of Egypt for 3 days. They did not see each other, no one rose from his place for 3 days, and all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. It seems that darkness was the cause of the other 9 disasters, namely, there was a crop failure, toads crawled out of the swamps, locusts and midges from the steeps, people got sick and died, the rivers were left without fish, and the water in them turned into blood. And although it's not clear how all this could happen, especially water being turned into blood in general, it's as if it was a similar script from 536 AD. Scientists doubted the historicity of the story, but now they found a papyrus in which the same events are described, so it became known that all these horrors happened in the 13th century BC during the reign of Pharaoh Ramesses II. The suns double far away at a distance of 3,600 light years. There is a twin of the sun, the star Assassin, ASASSN, Assassin 21QJ, which was found at the center of the scandal in 2014 when it suddenly went dark. It looks like the year 536 has arrived there. Since then, it's slowly returned to normal. After scientists have exhausted all possibilities, it now appears that an international team of researchers has identified the real cause. In short, it's a mega comet. Stars condense from dust and rockets, which are brought together by gravitational forces, and its gravity that initially ignites nuclear reactions in the center of the clump. A star is born, but construction waste remained and planets are assembled from it. However, there's still a lot of garbage anyway, concentrated so far, far away. Even the Voyagers have not reached there yet. The Oort cloud is what we call this region, at a distance of 100,000 Earth orbits from the Sun, only 40 Earth orbits to Pluto. It's from there that new comets arrive from time to time. The star Assassin 21QJ also has such a cloud. Astronomers have come to the conclusion that emissions from this heap of construction debris caused an ice age for those who may live near the star. Exactly the same thing happens with us. Call it a comet swarm invasion, and it would be true. Comets, this is what the primary matter of the solar system looks like, or maybe one megacomet. It's possible. Civilization reboot. The legends of different nations say that from time to time a certain celestial body approaches the Earth, that is, think Nibiru, Planet X, which destroys everything, and we have to learn to live again to reboot civilization. Thus, Babylonian texts talk about the planet Nibiru, which cannot be identified with the known planets. When Nibiru appears, a worldwide cataclysm occurs. From the Bible, we know that star Wormwood, who will herald the end of the world, poisoning everything on our Earth. Of course, so far for the conclusions book look too bold, something periodically flies in from the outskirts of our solar system, blocks the light of the star and destroys fully or partially life on planets. Was the cataclysm of 536 AD a mini end of the world? And the Egyptian darkness, what about the year without the summer? Looking at the events at a distance of 3,600 light years from us, let's say perhaps yes. When can we expect these new guests arriving? We don't know. The sun as a variable star. 4 billion years ago, the sun was 30% dimmer and has been getting brighter ever since. And then the average temperature on Earth was -7 degrees Celsius, and the liquid oceans where life rose splashed only thanks to the tectonic heat emanating from the depths. Secondly, the sun changes its activity every 11 years. Now is the maximum activity, and at around 2050 a super minimum is expected, and then the planet will become noticeably colder. They even talk about the return of the little ice age. This is on Soul Ask. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.